Hey, welcome back to Spicy Gamers, the show where we play with fire. And here we have today Split Screen. Thank you both for joining me on this wonderful, terrifying show. Split Screen, for those who don't know, is a jazz fusion video game music band. They're remote across North America and quite veritably a super group combining the talents of Eric Ladish, Andy Rue, Chris Williams, 8-Bit Music Theory, Foolish Frankie, Elijah Brown, Julia Baldwin, DS Music, David Schultz, Keenan Salazar. We're here to talk about their new album, Local Area Network, following their debut and, of course, their recent performances both at MagFest and VGMCon and so much more. Here we have today the trumpet player and the trombone player and band leader, Chris Williams and Eric Lash, of course. So thank you both for coming on and dealing with me.
Thanks for having us.
I'm sorry. We said before we started filming, you refer to us as Diddy Kong and Chunky Kong.
We could not get the rights to the Kong family. The estate fought me really hard. I'm really sorry.
You know, I learned today, I think it's, is it Wispy Kong? The grandma that you talk to as a ghost in DK64 canonically dies between Donkey Kong Country 3 and DK64.
That really makes you wonder what could happen in that world that that causes perma-death of any character.
On the gig, that's what happens.
There we go. Well, obviously, we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about with the brand new album. Of course, you both know me as both a co-performer and your editor of split-screen music videos, and it's been really cool to see how the band has grown from this idea, sparked into some recordings that turned out to YouTube videos, and of course, the first album and live performances, and now a second album that's already been really awesome to see perform on Bandcamp and all. So let's get started before we get into our unique scenarios of sauces. What made you start the band, Eric? And of course, Chris, what made you join the premise of Split Screen?
This
Eric,
is always
you go first.
Yeah. This is always a fun thing to talk about because it actually harkens back even further to another video game music supergroup and some of my experiences with them. Many may be familiar with the Game Brass, the brass quintet /band all-star group that I had the fortune of performing with at MagFest in 2023. And when I played with them, I kind of had previously burned out a little bit on what video game music could be for me and what I wanted it to be as far as like making arrangements goes. And in performing with the Game Brass, and I also played with Charles Ritz on their set at the Belvedere Lobby Bar. That year, I kind of finally had my 2 and 2 put together moment of this is way more fun with friends. So I contacted people, both that I admired and just that I knew and had worked with previously, and said, hey, I want to start a video game jazz fusion band. Are you down? And everybody said yes, and we've been together ever since.
I want to say it wasn't the MagFest. It was what, 2023?
It was shortly after 23, yeah.
So before MagFest, I had gotten to be a part of Disco Cactus's record called Mania Mode, and apparently they liked what I did a lot to the point where they said, hey, do you want to come perform with us on MagFest for a song? To which I said sure. And at the time I was trying to like get myself off of Twitter, and so I had my Twitter profile being like, hey, don't DM me here, like find my email, here's my Discord. If send me an Instagram DM if you want to, but just don't DM me here. And then, like shortly after MagFest, I get a DM from Eric on Instagram saying, "Hey, I just saw that you told people not to DM you on Twitter. My bad.
Good start.
Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this thing?" And and at the time, J Music Ensemble, the band that I'm also a big part of, they were about to go into a hiatus because Patrick, the band leader, he was about to move to Japan. So I was kind of like doing a couple things here and there on my own, but I really missed the camaraderie that I got to be a part of, you know, with with doing shows with Disco Cactus and then when this opportunity came up in that DM, I was like, Sign me up.
Because we're doing a remote setup, I want every Spicy Gamers to feel unique. So not all of them are going to be wings and hot sauces. Some of them are going to be just downing sauce. Last time or next time, you might see some other kinds of vehicles of food. So this time, I'm going to start off with an easy garlic Fresno sauce myself.
I'm saucing. I don't know if this is.
Oh, yeah. You got
how
Valentina's.
well that's gonna show.
I actually have Valentina's as well.
I have this. It's called Eclipse. It has peach, yellow pepper, and red chili. And my friend that works at Heatness said it's not that spicy. So we'll see what happens.
Both of you obviously have a humongous amount of experience in music, let alone jazz, having academic performance and practical performance, local experience. So what elements of playing split screen music do you think stands out from the kind of work that you've either studied or performed when it comes to like traditional jazz or even modern jazz?
Ooh. During my undergrad, I got vibed a lot for being into the video game music thing and arranging video game music.
Amen.
And and so one of the things that I'm kind of trying to focus on in I'm getting my master's at the University of North Texas right now. And one of the things I'm trying to focus on is like bridging that gap a little bit in like the eyes of professionals. So I'm taking a jazz research class that lets me kind of do some jazz studies, interdisciplinary research with music from video games. And I also, at this point now, a couple weeks ago, just gave a big band show of my arrangements of music from video games that very much leaned more towards like what college academics would want to see out of like a big band. And so there's an undertone from academia in general that's just kind of like, ooh, video games? Are you sure about that? It's not to say that it's not on some level understood. Like I get where that comes from. But at the same time, to produce that, and I'm sure Khrys has had similar experiences, to produce that, I'm using skills that I learned from jazz academia.
I see.
And so like it is an accurate representation of how we would do this, just with a different literature.
In the circle of academia, there is I would say that let me call a spade. It's a stigma. There's a stigma against people whose music is inspired by video game music. It's not even like direct covers. Some people just say, oh, I was inspired by like Streets of Rage 2 or whatever. The notion that video games are kind of a hobbyist thing to do and applying it to a professional like trade such as being a musician, there's a couple of things, there's a couple of roadblocks or like mental glass panes in their head that break. And whenever that breaks, they're like, what the f-? You know what I mean? But it's just, it's very fun.
That's really cool.
I think there's an inverse that's kind of also true about that. It's like when we go to MagFest, some people are there to hear like, man, they're playing music from Chrono Trigger or they're playing music from Final Fantasy 13. Okay, that's probably not very many people that are there for Final Fantasy 13 music. But we get to kind of expose them. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, I think I want to say that about 15% of all of the Final Fantasy 13 fans are in this band.
Yeah, because it's you, me, and it's DS.
Yeah.
My round 2 is some Lee Kum Lee chili garlic sauce.
Ooh, that looks real. I think I know that brand.
This is the Heatonist Heartbeat hot sauce. It's like a piri sauce. It's got red bell peppers, vinegar, olive oil, onion.
I'm debuting a homemade sauce. This one's made by my friend John, so shout out to John. This has a mix of, I believe, fermented habaneros, ghost peppers, and other goodies that I will try to list. And for whatever reason, he was compelled to name it my wife's boyfriend. So we're going to give this one a go for round 2.
This is kind of a vibe. Hello.
It's not a fun experience by itself.
The new album, and of course, both albums feature a lot of music that brings me back to like childhood nostalgia, as well as some recent memories, and exploring like games that I never grew up with. So obviously with a LAN party sort of title and all, I know the band's been talking a lot about LAN parties and games and so on. So do you both have like a standout multiplayer memory or a game that you just have had like a really great time with that comes to mind?
I used to live in the Bronx, and I used to live with Patrick Bartley, who was the band leader for J Music. And one of the favorite things that we liked to do was just get absolutely hammered, play custom Halo 3 games in the living room.
Yes.
In our living room.
Oh.
So it's like we had and we tweak with the setting so bad. It's like we had hammers only.
Yeah.
And we walked really slow, but the gravity was high.
Oh.
I grew up, I'm the middle child of two brothers. And I was always exceptionally bad at shooters. I still am. But I would play a significant amount of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. And not the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the real one.
The old one from 2011?
Yeah, however long ago.
Yes.
But I would play that. I'd play that with my brothers. We would play a good amount of, I think mostly Halo 2, sometimes Halo 3. Also just the modded silly modes that we would play. And then way after the fact, this is not a split screen thing, but there was this game that I think it finally made its way to Steam at some point. But there was this browser-based game called Town of Salem.
Oh, yes.
Which was Among Us before Among Us.
Oh, yeah. It
was Among Us before Among Us.
Proto
with
Among
the
Us.
with the Wiccan aesthetics.
Yes.
It was weird. Like for the browser games, the only one that I played was kind of like a Habbo Hotel vibe, but it was made by Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola branded Habbo is the most niche, terrifying corporate.
My Coke, that was the name.
My
Sorry.
Coke.
It's weird because I feel like a lot of those games ended up becoming a little bit like the way that young people treat, I say young people like I'm not young people, treat VR chat.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's like the just random talking to strangers in the chat room.
Oh my God. Well,
yeah. I have been obsessed with Dead by Daylight for the past 2 years. Shout out to all of my Survivor mains. I've also recently gotten into Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh, sure.
I've spent 12 hours in character creation alone. I'm never gonna.
Ro and I had some extended discussion about this at one point when I was actively doing it. But there was a period a couple of years ago where I was getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's right.
And around that time, I started playing Master Duel because I think it was relatively new at that point.
Yeah,
it was.
And I haven't played it in so long, and at this point, I'm afraid to open it for the amount of update that it would have to download.
Sure.
But that was a good time because it's you get to play Yu-Gi-Oh, but without any of the negative impact of costs if you play it like a cheap guy.
Because you
like
only
me.
have to play one turn, right?
So
I have generic Aldi brand hot sauce.
All right.
That says it is cayenne pepper hot sauce.
I think you need to take 3 shots of that to equate to your last one. But I'm going for Onima. I believe that's the same one you got, Khrys.
Yep, I got me some Onima. This is nice. I'm not scared. Bring it on. Sheesh.
So Split Screen's put out 2 albums now, and with it, of course, a lot of music videos, but you've also had the chance to perform live, taking the remote screens and instead of severing them, bringing them together. What was it like for your first performance together at MagFest? How did that feel? Were there any hijinks or challenges that came with not being able to rehearse until you came to an event?
I think the answer to that for any group, of course, is going to be yes. In fact, I met Khrys for the first time at the convention in person proper. And I think Khrys probably met a lot of the members of the band that way. My first MagFest, I had roomed with Charles Ritz, who is friend of the band, and David Chillis, one of our 2 pianists. And so I had met him just by brute force. And then several years later, we're in a band together. So I had known David for a while at that point. I'm going to backtrack that. It was not my first mag. It was my second mag. There's something funny about members of a band meeting each other in person for the very first time.
Oh yeah. It's
literally
remote office
less than a
workers.
day. It's less than a day before we're playing a live show at a con that has over 20,000 people at it. It's hey, nice to finally meet you.
I didn't meet Charles until I want to say 4 or 5 months before that MagFest, because Charles was also playing with Disco Cactus at shows with me. I think we played the album release show for it hurts to breathe.
For Mania Mode?
Before we had played Disco Cactus's Mania Mode album release show at the cutting room together, and that was my first time meeting them.
Hmm.
And then literally everybody else was just. It was a first time meeting everyone. We played with each other beforehand, so we kind of knew what everyone's tendencies were, and we knew what type of people everybody was. So whenever we did link up, it very much felt like, friends meeting up again for like the umpteenth time.
Do you have any like advice for other remote bands that might have seen how Split Screen came together for that MAG show or the VGM Con show? Like, what do you think needs to be in place for you to have a successful remote band go live?
You need to have organizational chops to like the 10th degree, if not further. And I will always, I won't pat myself on the back about a lot of things. And maybe Khrys can attest to this. I like to think I'm very organized. We had our set picked out like a month and a half before the gig. I think I picked out our set actually that day they told us that we were playing.
That usually takes like a month and a lot of cold sweats. And
we had all the charts ready. Anyone that was subbing, I immediately, because of course we had Yusuf on that gig playing drums, I got a hold of him as soon as possible. Everyone knew what to expect. There were no just like genuine surprises, I don't think, and that makes something like this go way, way faster.
One of the biggest admirations I had is I got to stand next to you, Khrys, and a stand failed to stand right at the beginning of one of our songs. And within like a minute, everything was recovered, which was incredible. And you're just wailing. But I was like, in the moment, I was like, a stand failed on us. Like,
yeah, that was fun. That's not the worst thing that happened. So luckily, I knew how to bounce back from that. Man, I remember I was playing at Central Park in New York City one time in one of those tiny little amphitheaters that they have for a cultural festival called Japan Day, and it was really windy, and my stand didn't fall down, but I was reading paper, and the wind just.
Oh my! Like you're not getting that back.
I wasn't getting that back. So I just kind of looked at the direction that it blew.
Okay, but
like,
what do? Do you improvise? Like, do you just kind of lay out?
You don't. Luckily, with J Music Ensemble, we rehearse a bunch, and so the more that you rehearse a bunch, the more you like passively internalize the chart. So if anything happens, you can at least kind of pull the remnants of the chart out of your booho, and things just work.
That's on par. I do just have to say really quick that it is on par with a certain piece of equipment missing at our first show at
Oh
MagFest.
gosh, that has to make it. You got to tell that one too. You got to tell that one.
The way that was extreme. The way that was explicitly removed from my brain.
All right, we got to talk about tape, don't we?
Oh, and you know what's funny is I found the missing part later.
You got to tell the whole story for context.
Okay. So at MagFest, I am breathing in a lot of air. The heat is.
We're not even on round 4. Come on.
Oh man, the Onima is making me go, oh Nima. I don't know. Anyway, so
I'm censoring that too.
For my first performance ever, I was performing with another band named Simmer, who Charles Ritz is also a part of. And I noticed that he had a clip-on mic. And Charles, he's like very active on stage. He's like going around stage, running over here, running over to the center. And I was like, I want to do that too. I feel so left out. And I was like, I want to do that too. So I had bought a clip-on mic for my horn. And MagFest 2023 was the first time I would have been using that mic for Split Screen Spell Video set. And so I go to the gig thinking everything's cool. Everything is in what I need. All that I need is in there. Roll to the set, do sound check. The mic was there, but the clip wasn't. No matter how hard I looked inside the thing that I ordered, there was no clip. So what I had to do was take like some sound guides, like pink, like painter's tape or like gaff tape, and tape it around my bell and attach it to my horn that way. And it was just really funny because if you've seen any of the split screen videos, my trumpet is black. And so to just see a black trumpet with a ring of pink around the bell is just, it was a funny sight to see. And then I played the entire show. I made lemonade out of lemons. And then I go back home to my house in Jersey. Literally the day after MagFest, I scour through the pack, the little thing, the case that the mic came in. Come to find out, the clip was hidden under like a very, very small nook. And if you watch, if you go to Foolish Frankie, shout out to Foolish Frankie, who's also a member of Split Screen. If you go to his YouTube channel and find that vlog, you will have he will have my moment of discovery in his vlog.
Oh my God.
So that was the whole thing.
This is the consequences of today. The Bomb Evolution, and it is
Da Bomb Palombi.
Da Bomb.
Shout out to Dom.
Guested on album 1.
Shout out to Dom. Go stream Sticker Brush Symphony from our OG album after you're done streaming Local Area Network.
Oh God, I hate it so much.
So I have this mellow habanero pepper hot sauce.
One thing that I think is really special about both jazz bands and video game cover bands is the discussion with the band of what song to play. And in your case, of course, what songs to record for the albums. So there's been a lot of really cool stuff from Kingdom Hearts to Shin Megami Tensei and Sonic Adventure and so on. What is your like hear me out song that you think Split Screen could cover, even if you have to like fight them on it?
Ooh.
God, the bomb! That's not a song.
Khrys, I want you to hit this one first because I have an immediate answer that comes to mind, and I don't think it would be a hard sell, but we would have other issues with it.
So I have a troll answer, and that troll answer is The Basement from Resident Evil Director's Cut.
All right.
Dude, that's what I was.
Was that
I've been joking about this. I've been joking about this for like a week with different people, and now that I have this, this is documented.
It is.
That I think that's permission.
Also, we should probably think about doing Crazy Bus?
Crazy Bus?
Train? Not Crazy Train. Yeah, Crazy Bus. That's what it is.
Not the
Crazy
Ozzy.
Train is a song by Ozzy Osbourne.
One that I would love to do that we definitely cannot license, and I've talked about this for years, that I really want to do music from Spectrobes. I think that would be the DS game that got 2 installments and then a Wii game and like a short Disney something animated series. But there's music from that I'm like, this is hip. This would be fun to play with a band. However, very few people would know it. This is probably the first mention of Spectrobes in the year of 2025.
Yeah.
Maybe in the 2020s. And we can't license it, so it would only be for live.
It was funny.
It's Serrano round.
Are you going
for
to
me.
eat the whole thing?
Yeah.
Is after you take a bite. Yep. After you take a bite,
Okay.
I want you to write down as many games that feature an actual split screen multiplayer mode in 60 seconds. Winner has the most titles. And go.
Oh, Fraggle Rock! Oh!
Hey, that's the first mention of Fraggle Rock in 25.
You had to bleep stuff out.
I'm getting ready. Oh my God, it's so hot. Oh, I haven't had Last Drop in so long. 10 seconds now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and pencils down. Who wants to go first and read their list and count it off?
All right. So,
It's so hot,
Okay.
it's slippery.
Oh God, it hurts to breathe. So I got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, Tony Hawk's
cheater.
Pro Skater 3, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, Tony Hawk's Underground, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, Tony Hawk's Project 8, Medal of Honor, Medal of Honor Rising Sun, Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3. Done.
How
I
many
didn't
is
know we
that?
could do
It's like
that.
14 or?
I only got 6 because I didn't cheat and count doubles. Within the same franchise, I got Donkey Kong 64, GoldenEye 64, Mario Kart, Halo, Call of Duty, and Mario Party, but specifically the minigames.
I'll let the chat decide who won, Khrys or Eric, because if you count a lot of Call of Duties, well, you know what? Khrys didn't name a single one of the franchises that didn't have split screen. Some Halo does not have split screen anymore. So for now, I think Khrys might have been the winner, but I'm grumpy.
Go me! Ah!
Oh my gosh.
Holy.
All right, well, both of you did a fantastic job. Once again, split screen, biased to say, it's a fantastic band. And of course, the new album is full of great songs, fantastic moments for both of you and the whole band. Where can people check it out? Where can people take a listen, pick it up?
Well, y'all can find us y'all can find us at Split Screen BGM on Instagram and on Blue Sky. We have a song link. We're also on TikTok. That's right. I forget about TikTok. We have a song link. I think it's literally just song.link at Local Area Network for the new album. You can also find us on Bandcamp, splitscreenbgm.bandcamp.com. Peppers are hot.
Thank God
And also, of course, our music videos. Of course, our music videos are on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Eric L. Trombone.
At Khrys Williams everywhere. My name is messed up. Oh Lord. Khrys. It hurts to breathe in and breathe out. KHRYSWILLIAMS. Instagram. Blue Sky. I'm at KhrysWilliams.com on Blue Sky. YouTube.com/@KhrysWilliams. I'm on TikTok. Follow me on Twitch. I play video games a lot. Twitch.tv at Khrys Williams. Socials.KhrysWilliams.com. Everything's there. Oh, God.
Thank you so much for watching Spicy Gamers. Thank you, Split Screen, for coming on, for sharing your music, and of course, surviving the challenge. Check out their new album, and of course, subscribe and see more awesome stuff coming from Game Grooves, as well as more Spicy Gamers. We'll see you next time.